Oi. Hello there. Been a minute since I've posted. Been busy with some different stuff in the background. But it's a good day. Coming out here in the morning. It's nice and sunny before my face gets burnt off in the Arizona sun. But that's besides the point. Today, I'm going to talk about people as mirrors. And I'm very fascinated by psychology, just how people's mind works, how they work and operate and make decisions. But this concept of people essentially being mirrors for things or other people is very interesting to me. So, to put it short, people act a certain way, they have certain life circumstances or things that has shaped them as a person. And when you talk about, let's define a system here. So one-on-one conversation, two people just talking to each other. I would say that the people are a mirror in a way that they reflect the same thing within another person. So let's say I have anger issues, and let's say some situation has gotten me angry, and I want to talk about it and vent. So the person I'm talking to will likely see similarities within themselves of like, oh, I've been there, like I've had that situation and been angry, or whatever emotion is more prevalent at the time. So in that way, in a conversation or dialogue, you you recognize the things that you have experienced or felt in yourself when simply having a conversation with another person. And I find it very interesting because people can be a reflection of different things. So you can be a reflection of one thing at a specific time and then another at another time due to situation. So let's say, let's give another situation. One-on-one conversation, someone's talking about trying this new thing that they're uncomfortable with or afraid of that they want to do. And then, people as mirrors, like the person that they're talking to might say, hey, I felt that exact same thing, like for that specific thing you want to try. And they're like, well, I did feel that. It did feel dangerous and new and uncomfortable. And so I can say that I did it and then it got easier. So it's an interesting dynamic. And then I find that a lot of the times we close off certain conversations from people. So let's say I expect one thing of you, like archetype. Archetype is a way to put it. So when we meet people and have a conversation initially, we define them as like an archetype or a certain type of person, where it's like they're the fitness guru, or like they know astrology or news or history, and that's their one thing, and that's what we narrow it down to. So then they become an archetype where they are the person embodying that topic or lifestyle. And then a lot of times we don't actually dig deeper to find out like what their other interests are, like secondary, their third degree of interest, whatever. So then at that point we're closed off, and then we only think of them as that one thing. So in a way that we're mirrors of each other, I might say, hey, I'm gonna go base jumping because I heard about this thing and it's awesome. And you, who I've established a conversation with, I didn't know you did base jumping. I thought you were like uh, um, a rock climber guy. I didn't know you did that. So inherently, because I didn't open the opportunity to learn that about you, or it was never brought up in conversation, in my world, that doesn't exist. Like, that doesn't exist in your world because I don't know about it. And that's a very interesting dynamic because I find a lot of conversations I have, um, like I know people, I've actually known them for a while, and then I never just bring up a specific topic. And then later I find out, oh, they actually did have an interest in that thing, or they have some knowledge about it that I maybe wouldn't have expected, or didn't find out about. So it's so interesting. It's so interesting that way, where a lot of people actually have knowledge that you didn't know they had, and you will expect that they don't until you're given proof that they do. And that's just a shame, honestly, um, because a lot of people do have knowledge or experience that, you know, people just didn't know about because it wasn't vocalized, or, you know, the opportunity to present itself wasn't there for some reason. And let me check if this is even recording. What? It is. No fear, y'all. Heike thought I. Oh, hummingbirds. That's cool. There's two of them. Anyways, they're just chilling about in the backyard of the Tajverse. So in that way, it's like when we're not presented an opportunity to talk about something or experience we have, um, it basically doesn't exist at the current moment, and it's just that's wild to me. It doesn't mean you have to like live to the fullest every ounce of your perspective, because how do you even do that? But um, you can always bring it back up. Re-experience something that you once knew, um, and there's likely others around you that would want to share that experience. Um, so yeah, it's just fascinating. So back to the people as mirrors topic. This is in multiple levels, degrees, facets, um, where um, you can look at any characteristic of a person. You can look at emotion. You can look at experience. You can look at, I guess, specialty, skill set. And when you have that person, and then they interact with another thing or person, um, the mirror situation comes about where um, the other people around are seeing the reflection of themselves through that person's ability or knowledge or emotion or skill set. Um, and I would say, in the way that people are mirrors, the larger the larger of the emotion or feeling or experience you have within yourself, the larger it appears in other people, or vice versa. So, like, let's say I was the 2018 national chess champion, because I'm just good like that. But and so that could be something I don't talk about. But if I do talk about it, and it's like my thing that I choose to be known for, um, all the other people around me that are like, "Oh, I played chess one time," or like, "I actually like that's my thing. I love it." Um, so then it's like you're holding up that mirror because you represent that thing, you embody it, and then now other people reflect. Um, And so, that being said, I think that's also like a skill that people don't think about, um, where it's like you recognize there's a thing within other people that either they want to be highlighted, maybe they don't know they want it to be highlighted. You can really just like amplify that thing, just in knowing that there's importance there. And so like that's not something that I think people actively, consciously think about, but I think about it. And if you think of, I listen to a lot of like podcasts, and things of that sort, with artists or like creative directors, writers, whatever. And so that's really where it starts, I think, is like they form a alliance or like community of sorts, or they just like join people that do a thing, and and then it just becomes big because like they add fuel to it. They're around a catalyst of sort to amplify their skill or get better at it. But the biggest part is finding the catalyst, whether it's like something physical to interact with, like it's a setting, a person, a you can even do it like digitally. Like if you have people that you follow that are good at something, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna draw inspiration from that. That can be a thing. Like if you specifically channel that and use it. So yeah, so many levels to that. Um, so I've been involved in like a lot of groups, like training groups, just like networking, social, and it's like you can get however much you want out of a group or organization, business, whatever. If you like basically extract that value, or you recognize the value, and then you go about using it, and it's to whatever level you want. Some people, to a small degree, maybe it's like 10 to 30%. Other areas, it might be like 50 to 70, maybe even like 99%. Like you're trying to squeeze as much of the juice out of that thing. And so people subconsciously turn those dials of like how much they get out of things. They're like, this is kind of cool. It's like a little hobby. I want to get like 30% out of it, 30% out of it. And I don't think everything needs to be about getting value out of something, because that's like, it's not really human. You're not really living at that point because you're just a robot in a way. But it is important sometimes to reconsider as like how much you get out of stuff, how much you put into it, because you can put 100% into something that you only put 30% into before. And it's like, to a lot of times we assess value based off of what other people assign the value to be, or like society, whatever. And I look at, I guess I talk about ancient civilizations a lot with some of my closer friends, like Greek, Rome, but like around those times it was like art and expression and language were heavily celebrated. Like they made statues of like people, human form, like best physique possible that they could create for themselves. And it was like that was the highlight of the time, and it was like the pinnacle of achievement. It was among those things, and it was just the value assigned to those things was pretty high, so that's what people did or gravitated towards. Nowadays, like, you know, you can look anywhere, and then there's gonna be a certain assigned value, or there's probably a hierarchy of sorts with like the things we do on a day to day, and the value that's assigned to them. So, if you do not choose it yourself, you are letting it be chosen. Um, and so it's just something to think about. Um, so yeah, um, that's some good stuff. Um, but again, back to the reflection thing. You can actually, yeah, so you can broadcast certain things that have importance to you, what you're working on. It could even change month to month, like what you want to talk about and be about. And, that in that sense of being a mirror, it's like you are highlighting different components or knowledge that you have that other people are like, oh, I know about that. Like I could dive into a conversation and expand on that. And so it just kind of opens the door to more depth of relationships with people, um, just creating deeper connections, which is something I try to actively do. Um, but it is very like conscious, like, oh, you have to think about it thing, where you're like, am I only expecting something of someone because I talked about it or it was inherently brought up? Or do I open the doors to everyone that might have a say or knowledge somewhere, and then maybe I'm gladly surprised. when they do know things. Um, so yeah, that's good. Um, that's gonna be a wrap on today. Um, have a good day. Determine it's a good day before it's began. Keep grinding. Keep getting better at your craft. Try something new. You'll be glad for it. And remember, you're a mirror. So reflect back to people what they are, because that's important stuff. So you guys have a good one, and I'll see you on the next one.